Last year I decided to grow some jalapenos in the little yard that I have here at my house, and last year to preserve them I decided to ferment them, but this year with my few jalapeno plants that grew pretty well, I managed to get some really pretty looking peppers, so I wanted to pickle them this time to preserve them before they're lost. The reason I picked these, especially because they're so small still, is the weather's getting colder and I planted these jalapenos pretty late in the summer, so I fear these may actually just be like the last few jalapenos I'll get off those plants. If I get more, you know, that's lucky, but I want to do something with them. I'm just going to pickle them. Just going to make a simple jalapeno pickle. This is actually going to be a super quick recipe. In fact, in real life, this would only take me maybe about 10 minutes to make if I wasn't filming. And for someone like me who kind of enjoys growing things like jalapeno chilies, but don't actually use them very much day to day, this is a great way to preserve them while retaining their crunch and spiciness. After a quick rinse under some water to remove any little bits of dirt, I'm going to slice them using a mandolin slicer. I like mine to be very thin, so I have my mandolin set to almost its thinnest setting. But really, it's up to you how thin you want to make these, and you can also just use a knife. But just make sure to be careful when using a mandolin. I try not to let my fingers get too close to the blade, which luckily with chilies is quite easy to avoid since the stem gives your fingers a nice little handle to hold, so you don't end up slicing the tip of your fingers. But as you can see, I've gotten pretty good at this, and having a nice sharp mandolin makes this a breeze. While my little harvest of jalapenos didn't look like much in the bowl, when sliced up like this, it actually looks like a lot more than it actually is. I also went ahead and sliced a couple cloves of garlic as well to throw into this pickle. The garlic, however, I sliced on the thinnest setting of my mandolin, and I was extra careful with the slicing of these as it can get a little dangerous as you get close to the ends. But I just get as close as I'm comfortable and then throw the rest in as a bigger chunk of garlic. I'll throw the sliced jalapenos and garlic into a bowl, and while wearing a glove, since I'm not trying to burn everything I touch, I'll give them a good toss to evenly combine. And then throw in a small, maybe teaspoon amount of MSG, which works surprisingly well in pickles, along with about half a tablespoon of salt and half a tablespoon of sugar. I'll mix all that up just to make sure it gets everywhere, then add that all to my small glass jar. And to make this as easy as possible, I'm gonna eyeball the amounts of vinegar and water I add to this jar. And it's usually a 1-to-1 ratio of water and vinegar, so I'll start by pouring vinegar until it reaches halfway up the jar, and then top up the rest of the jar with water. And I'm not even gonna bother with heating up the mixture since it's not really necessary. Then all that's left to do is close this up and wait. I made this around noon, and by dinner time this was ready to go. I also found that not heating up the mixture keeps the crunch of the jalapenos much better. And by not partially cooking the jalapenos, it preserves the fresh flavor better as well. Now I'll store this in the fridge long term, but I also presume this is shelf stable given the amount of acidity in this. But that's how you can make these pickled jalapenos, but really you can pickle almost anything like this as well.